Hello everyone, Happy New Year, and you're welcome once again to my channel, the Eagles channel. I'm here to talk about a subject today that is very common around us today, and that is relocation. Relocation and visiting or touring. Relocation and visiting might be or might be similar or might be misunderstood or one used for another, but they are quite different program and their programs, or they are quite different plans required for both. And the major difference got to do with the time. Why relocation is a long-term plan, long-term exercise, whereas visiting and touring, they are short-term, usually within a very short period. And the preparation for these two, relocation and visiting, might as well be different because of the time factor that is required for both. Having said that, relocation is really what I want to dwell in. Relocation can be internal relocation within a country. For example, one moving from one city to another, one state to another. And relocation could be international, whereby one is moving from one country to another, or from one continent, for example, from Africa to Europe, Africa to America, North or South America, or as well to Asia. These are international travel, international relocation. And the preparation is quite different from somebody who is doing visiting or touring for a very short period of time. However, I want to bring out some of the issues, some of the worries, things one has to get worried about, one has to prepare his or her mind about while relocating. First, having known or the country or the land you are relocating, it is essential to know the language that is spoken in that country, the language as well as the culture. For example, one is traveling to the Arab countries. You need to understand the nature of the culture of that land so that you can start to prepare your mind how you can blend into such culture and how you can start learning or get used to the spoken language of this new country that you are relocating. The second thing is the local law, the law of that country. You need to have a knowledge of the law in that country. For example, some country does not permit certain items to be brought into that country. You need to have knowledge of this so that to avoid some troubles while traveling or while living in that country. For example, you might not need to wear certain things in some countries different from where you're coming from. And you have to know the kind of ethnic groups that are in that locality that you are going. Ethnic groups, because in some countries you are going, the ethnic groups might be different, but the locality you are going, you need to know the kind of ethnic groups that are predominantly there. because the ethnic group determines the sociality, the social life of that area. You need to get yourself prepared for all this so that you can fit into the society with the shortest possible time. The necessary document. There are documents needed for you to get used to the land. Yeah, one might say, oh, I have a visa, I'm going with a visa. Yes, that is correct to some extent. But as soon as you get to that country, after some weeks, some days, or some months, the visa might not be valid anymore. So it is important that the document that will enable you to live legally in that land is important. You know the process of obtaining that document so that day to day of the life will not be disturbed, because your life in the new land entirely or wholly depend on your legal status in that land. Everything you might be doing in that the new land you relocated might have to be connected in one way or the other to your legal status. So it is very important. While you are moving to a new area, it is important to connect to friends, some relatives who might as well have lived in the area, because they might be able to help you with a few things. For example, few information that will make the life sweet for you. Few information that will make the life, that will make the life sweet for you. Some basic information that will make it easy for you. So it's important you connect to friends, relatives who have been in the area before your relocation. Again, another thing you have to consider is the medical facility. The medical facility that is existing in the land, and how to get registered, how to go enlisted so that you can have access to medical facility. We have heard of families come and they run into trouble. Probably the wife, probably the children get sick because of variations in weather or whatever. And if the medical facility are not accessed immediately, we have heard of some few deaths as soon as they arrive. We have heard of few being admitted as soon as they arrive. But having access to this medical facility will save anyone relocating of some troubles, especially when you're relocating with family, when you're relocating with a pregnant wife, when you're relocating with children. Medical facility are very, very essential. Other facilities like schools, the transport system are important too, because the children have to be enlisted into school as soon as the relocation is completed. They have to be enlisted to school if they're in the primary or secondary, whichever is applicable. They have to be enlisted. So in knowing the location of school and the process of registration is very, very important. And the transport system to connect from one point to another. Yes, the faster you know this, the better. Other very important areas one has to bother about while relocating is employability in the area. Employability. That is the process or the chances of one get employed, one get fixed up for an income. Yes, you just relocated, but you need to worry about the next few days or few weeks without an income. Therefore, as soon as one relocate, one has to start knowing or studying or trying to know the employability in that new area, so as one can get hooked up to a particular the needed job to move ahead. Housing and accommodation. These are very basic needs, especially when you are moving in with families, when you are moving in with children. Housing and accommodation are needed. So this house and the process, the agent the agent for this that in charge of housing and accommodation really have to be connected with, really have to be sued for without delay, because housing and accommodation is something that everyone cannot do how to do without. The weather. Yes, the weather, especially when you are relocating internationally, the weather has to be studied. The weather has to be looked into. The time of the year with a very kind of weather, you might have to study the weather of that particular season you are moving in and how to cope with that weather. The facility needed to deal with that weather. It is very, very important. The weather here changes, and therefore, a good knowledge of this weather will not catch you unaware. Pets. Some family, they live with pets. Some live with dogs. Some live with cats. Some live with birds. Therefore, when they are relocating, they can't leave these animals behind. If you were going for tourism visiting, you can get someone who can be a caretaker for these pets. But a situation where you have to relocate and spend chunk of your life somewhere, you have to make arrangement for the pet, make arrangement for the travel, make arrangement for the pet to be conditioned very well in the process and in place of relocation, because the dogs has to be brought along, the animals, the cat has to be brought along, the birds has to be brought along, because they have become part of the family. Therefore, while relocating, the plan for this pet has to be done, and done just the same as for the human being. Yes, the last and not the least, I want to point out, relocation can be sweet. Relocation can be worrying. Relocation can be disturbing. But when finally achieved, there's a final headache that comes with it. Homesickness and adaptation. Homesickness and adaptation. Because while you have left that place you are used to, and now you're trying to adapt to a new environment, then you'll be homesick at a given time. You might be homesick at a particular time. You say, oh, I wish I'm home. I wish I was home. The weather would have been better. I wish, but we all need time. We need patience. And with patience, we get over this, and we will become part of the new land we have relocated to. Yes, we have all relocated at one point, at one time or the other. And as the time goes on, you get used to that place you have relocated to. You become part of the land. And you part of the land, and that is it. Relocation become a thing of story, a big thing of history, and that is it. That is it. If you have benefited a different thing from this little subject, if this has added any value to you, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to this channel, so that any other one coming, the next one coming, you will not miss it. Because there are many more to come, many more subjects to be talked about on this channel. Interesting subject indeed. Have a good day. Bye-bye.